Hello and welcome to Property Question Time. I'm Stephen Galpin and this is the programme where you can have your property related questions answered by our team of experts. Joining me today are John Howard, property developer, author and mentor. John, welcome.
Thank you.
Paul Mahoney, founder of Nova Financial Group, author and of course public speaker.
Thanks, Stephen.
Welcome to you, Paul. And Trevor Leggett, co-founder of Leggett Immobilier, French property experts. Trevor, welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you for travelling to join us today. John, we're going to go to you first for the first question. Right, does the panel think that when the London crossrail services start, which I think is next year, it will influence prices at the locations of the stations across London towards Heathrow? I'm told by agents that this may be the case, and if I am looking for investment, this will be one of the foremost opportunities in London. What do you think?
Well, first of all, he's quite right to be looking for an angle, something that's going to increase the value more than inflation or anything else. And of course, what he's talking about may well be the case. I would say it's probably already been priced in these areas already. That's the only thing I would say. There might be a bit more to come because people might realise how good it is and how popular it is. But some of the increase has probably already been priced in. And of course, agents love to talk a good game. Yeah. So bear that in mind as well.
Okay. Paul, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I think most of it probably, definitely is already priced in. If you look at places like Whitechapel and Woolwich, they've doubled in value pretty well solely because of that. There's not really much other reason or anything else that's happened in those areas, aside from them being relatively close to central London. Yeah. They've increased substantially more than other areas that aren't on that line. But I do think there probably will be a little bit of an increase once the utility exists.
Especially if it's if it turns out to be more popular than they thought it would be or whatever. So
it's going to be an amazing service, isn't it?
Yeah, incredible.
Have you seen the station here, John? I mean, it's quite a stunning enterprise, and the shops have been open for quite some time now. And it's going to be 45 minutes to Heathrow from East London, which is fantastic, isn't it?
Suits you, doesn't it?
It does indeed. Paul, anything extra to add to that?
I do agree with what John said, though, so far as having an angle. There are other angles aside from crossrail that you can take that probably have more legs in them from now. But definitely you want things to be moving in the right direction.
I think you make good points when you say a lot of these rises have already been factored in. I mean, I can remember moving to London sort of 30 odd years ago and everybody telling me that City Road was going to be the place. I'm still waiting. And I'm still watching it, and I'm still not that keen to get out of my car after dusk there, and so, but there we are, that's life, isn't it? Okay, let's move on then to Paul, your question. Like a lot of younger people, I'm having difficulty in getting together the deposit to buy my first property. Although there are quite a lot of shared ownership opportunities available, I wonder if it would be preferable to perhaps buy jointly with, say, 2 or 3 friends rather than on my own. Any advice would be appreciated.
So they mentioned shared ownership, they didn't mention help to buy, which, as we discussed in a previous episode, I think is a better scheme and would likely give them more flexibility on getting the deposit. They only require 5%. And a lot of and as a first-time buyer, they have the first-time buyer's concession on stamp duty. Yep. If the price is over and above that, a lot of developers are paying the balance. So it literally is only 5%, meaning they can buy a 500 grand property for 25 grand.
Yeah. Divided by 3 potentially if there's 3 of them buying.
Yeah. If there's 3 of them buying. Obviously, if there is 3 of them buying, it does need to be their residential place, home, so they do need to live there. That might be the difficult thing for 3 of them together, but that's potentially an option. I'd certainly say explore help to buy. You get the 40% in London. You get a 40% equity loan, which is free for 5 years, and then at a very low interest rate to 10 years. So you have a 10-year flexibility, and the idea there is that over that 10 years, your income should increase, your financial position should increase. Hopefully, the value of the property increases as well,
and your requirements change, I suppose.
Yeah, it puts you in a better position to be able to buy that property outright on your own. So that's what
Trevor,
most people are now doing in the first.
Anything to add to that, Trevor?
Well, I mean, the unfortunate thing of the whole thing is interest rates being so low. While it's great to borrow, it's really not encouraging young people to save. And I mean, everybody says they can't save, they don't save, but the problem is saving is not fashionable. No. It's almost a word that we've forgotten about. Yeah. And nobody's encouraged, or there is no real...
If you're going to get 0.5% on your savings...
That's the issue, but I mean, the thing is, I know that people will be saying, you can't save, but you can if you try hard. And I mean, I know when I bought my first home, long time ago, I'd saved for 2 years to not only save, well, in those days we could buy the whole bloody house by saving up your thing, but you can't do that anymore. But I mean, I went without considerable things. You didn't go down the pub, you didn't eat flashy things, you weren't going to restaurants, you weren't doing this, you weren't doing that. I don't see young people prepared to make many sacrifices
I would say
in order to save up a deposit.
They want it all now.
Yeah, they want everything straight away.
There is a bit of a victim mentality, I think, so far as properties being, prices being so high, and people saying, I can't save, I can't afford it, but the reality is, I agree, you can.
Trevor, I totally agree. I don't think young people have had it as so good.
The government would be better to promote saving than they would to keep giving help to buy help.
They do ISAs and other things like that, to be fair.
Now, Paul, I'm going to ask you as a sort of independent party here. I'm not going to ask our property developer friend.
Hey?
I'm reading in the papers a lot of people saying the actual uptake on this Help to Buy is not that clever, and actually it's helped more developers than it has purchasers.
Well, it's definitely helped developers. There's no doubt about that, and there's no doubt about the reason why John loves it. But it definitely has helped more first-time buyers get into the market. There's no doubt about that. I've seen that personally. So it is helping. It helps. These things only help to a certain extent, obviously, because even with it, for example, if we're talking about London, even with Help to Buy, you still need to have about 50 grand of income to be able to afford the 55% mortgage. And some people would say, well, that's nearly double the UK average, and it is. And therefore, it doesn't necessarily help people at the bottom of the market. But in saying that, I don't necessarily think people have an entitlement to own property. They need to be able to afford to own property.
Well, you need to make sacrifices.
And I think far too many people say, well, I can't buy in the area I grew up. Well, move somewhere else then.
Spot on, Paul. You make a very, very good point there. And I've been accused of being a bit ruthless by saying that. But you're absolutely right. And the other thing I would say... I know it's a surprise, isn't it? But what I would say to you, Stephen, is that there's more first-time buyers now than at any time since 1985. Now, whatever you might say about the scheme, that is a fact. You can't get around that.
Mm. But I suppose the question is how many of them are availing themselves of that particular offer?
If I may repeat the same answer, there are more first-time buyers now than at any time since 1985.
Right. Okay, well, on that note, we'll move on. Trevor, I've just purchased an apartment in the north of France, and we're now debating our use of a motor...
You're Belgian, then.
Right, probably.
You won't be British.
Our use of a motor vehicle for both now and in the future. Although we will not be full-time residents for some time, what are the advantages or disadvantages of using a UK-registered vehicle in France? For instance, is there a maximum amount of time one can use a UK-registered car in France? Are there any restrictions for non-full-time residents purchasing a French vehicle? Any advice would be most helpful.
Right, this is an easy one.
Okay.
So anyway, you're allowed to take when you move to France, you're allowed to take your British vehicle with you, or your foreign vehicle from wherever you like in the world, and you have a 6-month grace period to register it in France, so you can keep it there for 6 months. If the car then returns to the UK and stays there for 6 months, you can take it back out for another 6 months, if you want it to be. If you're a resident in France, your vehicle that you use daily should remain on French plates or be transferred onto French plates. Your UK car can stay on UK plates and travel backwards and forwards to France as often as you like. Right. But that's if you're a UK resident with a holiday home in France. Now, if you're a UK resident with a holiday home in France, you can buy a French car, providing you've got an address to register it to and a utility bill in your name.
Okay.
That's all you need.
All right.
But it's cheaper because you don't have road tax in France. Insurance is cheaper and you insure the car, not the person. So it's a much better, cheaper, easier way to insure your vehicle. Okay. The UK, the advantage used to be that if you had a UK registered car, you didn't get speeding tickets, but now they're sending them all back to the UK, so that's finished.
You've been caught then, Trevor.
I think everybody's been caught. There was something like, I think the French put in the press sometime last year that they were going after it because there were £500 million worth of unpaid fines for Brits. Right. Over the last God knows how many years, and I think the government turned and said, "Oh, look, we can access the database. Yeah. Let's start sending all the fines back to the UK." Yeah. So they did.
So I think your overall advice is then, if you're going to spend anything like a reasonable amount of time in France, best to buy.
Yeah, just buy a French car. Yeah. Much easier.
Okay, great stuff. All right, well, that's all we have time for this half of the programme. Join us again after the break.
My name is John Howard, and I've been investing and developing properties for over 40 years. In that time, I've been very successful, but of course I've always made the odd mistake as well. In my book, I explain how to be successful and what to do should something go wrong. I've survived 3 property recessions. I can help you do the same. My book is available online. Please go to johnhowardpropertyexpert.co.uk.
Property is a great investment option, but it's one of the largest purchases that you'll ever make. As individuals, we're all limited by our resources, and regardless of our experience, knowledge or time, we can achieve much more with the help of a qualified team and extra resources being available. Nova Financial specialise in assisting clients to achieve financial freedom through property investment. With over 100 years of experience, we shape your family's future. To invest in property with absolute confidence, call us on 0203 8600 or visit nova.financial.
The antiquated village of La Roche-Beaucourt in rural Dordogne may not have the cachet of Paris or London, yet it houses one of the 10 fastest growing property consultancies in Europe. It is home to Leggett Immobilier, the leading international estate agent in France. They have around 16,000 properties for sale right across the country, with a network of 400 agents who provide local expertise and market knowledge. If you want to know the best villages, schools, restaurants or boulangeries, then the Leggett team will know the answer. As well as advising buyers on the local market and regional property prices, they also have a bilingual contract team who ensure that your purchase will go through as smoothly as possible. Leggett has been voted Best Estate Agent in France for the past 4 years running. To experience these exceptional service levels for yourself, then head to our website, leggettfrance.com.
Meet the Author is a brand new mini-series involving leading experts in the property industry, including mentors, developers, property lawyers and other industry experts who share insightful stories about their journey and their books. Each book is compiled by authors with years of valuable experience, tips and observations, providing you with new knowledge about the property industry. To find out more, visit the website property-tv.co.uk/library.
Hello and welcome to Property TV. I'm Stephen Galpin, host of Property Question Time. We've completed the filming of Series 1, over 260 successful episodes. We're now about to film Series 2. The difference? Well, we're going to be filming in our new studio adjacent to the Canary Wharf development. Keep those questions coming in to us, keep our panellists, our experts busy, and we hope you enjoy the new series as much as you did the last one. Hello, welcome back to part 2 of Property Question Time. I'm Stephen Galpin and joining me are John Howard, Paul Mahoney and Trevor Leggett. Welcome back, gents. John, your second question. Yes. I'm considering buying a small house close to the river. It's the River Thames, about 30 miles outside of London. Although the house is in an area which I understand has never flooded, according to the Environment Agency report, it is in a risk area. Because of this, I'm being asked by my lender to have specific flood insurance, which is extremely costly. As the area has never flooded in the past, can I challenge the prediction by the Environment Agency?
No.
Right. Oh, well, that's it.
I've had a number of properties that I've looked to buy over the years, which have never ever flooded. And in the end, I've decided not to buy them because if there's any research or advice given by the flood agency that it could flood in the future, you really are up against it, you know, with building with lenders. And of course, that's only going to, according to them,
only going to get worse.
It's only going to get worse. So really, you either, if you're very wealthy, then I would say probably doesn't matter to you too much, and pay the extra insurance and get on with it and enjoy your new home. If you're not so wealthy, I would question whether you should be buying in that area.
Yeah, I mean the Environment Agency do these models, don't they? There's,
do.
I think 20-year, 50-year, and 100-year prediction.
They never go backwards, by the way.
No.
So you know, if it only gets worse, not better. So I would be very cautious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Paul, from a finance point of view.
Yeah, one thing I would say, some lenders will be more worried about that than others.
Yeah.
There will be lenders that would probably ignore it. So if they do really want the property, then that could be an option. But you know, I agree with John. Just the fact that he hasn't bought them for that reason means there's others that think the same, and therefore the resaleability of that property could be limited due to that fact. But there would be ways around it if they want to buy there.
But some of the best riverside properties, I live quite close to the river as well, and they are stunning, and living near a river is actually quite a nice place to live. And you've just got to have, you've got to be objective about it. It's always a trade-off. It's a bit, when people say to me, you know, should you buy near the water, they say, well, there is a risk, but the pleasure of living near the water outweighs the risk, and you're probably going to get flooded.
But I also think, Trevor, it's your personal, you know, your personal situation.
Yeah.
You know, depending how financially, you know, strong you are,
Yeah,
and as
of
much
course,
the well,
of course.
it's where you want to live. It's what I want. I'll buy it anyway. You know, it's that sort of attitude.
I think that's right. I mean, I used to live out at Wargrave near Henley-on-Thames, and we were right on the river.
Yeah, lovely.
It was absolutely stunning. You have your boat outside. You can just step onto it. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
But we did suffer a flood once a year at least, and you just have to say, this is the price for living here, I'm afraid.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
But if you can afford to deal with that, that's fine. But if you any slight chance that you can't, don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah. I mean, flooding we see on the TV and it looks, yes, very unfortunate and all the rest of it, but until you've actually experienced it, you don't really realise how traumatic it is.
But also, for those people who have lived there a long, long time, it's incredibly unfortunate. But for those people who've bought in the last few years, knowing that it could flood, you're not sympathetic, to be honest with, are you?
No. Okay, good. Paul, on to your question. Right, I've collected the forms for a mortgage from my building society in readiness for applying for my first mortgage. I've noticed on the form that I must declare that the funds I have for a deposit are mine and are not a loan. I guess that the building society just want to know that I'm financially sound. However, the funds I shall be using are a loan from Mum and Dad. There is no formal loan document in place, nor any particular requirement for repayment. I am concerned that if I declare it as a loan, it may affect the result of my application. Am I obliged to declare it as an agreed loan or not?
Well, regardless of whether you declare it or not, it's probably going to come out in the wash anyway, because your solicitor is obliged to disclose the source of those funds to the lender. So when you go through AML, anti-money laundering checks with your solicitor, they'll ask for ID, they'll also ask for bank statements. And on those bank statements, and they see this lump sum of cash coming into your bank account, they're going to say, where's that come from? Now, you could say it's a gift. You know, if there's no formal documents, then
it would be a gift from the family.
It probably is a
Yeah.
gift,
Yeah.
you know. There's nothing to say that it's a loan just because you're planning.
Wouldn't you have to watch that on tax?
No, not if it's a gift.
Inheritance tax, perhaps. If your parents were to pass away within 7 years, you could potentially be liable for 40% on that gift.
Only if they've got a large...
Only if you're inheriting over 300 grand or 340 grand or whatever it is. So you do need to be cautious of it. Now, this person, a first-time buyer, assuming they're buying a home, most lenders would probably be okay with it being a gift from the parents.
Should be, yeah. Okay.
Some may not be, but it's probably worth checking. They said it's a building society. Well, it's worth checking that with the building society. I think in these cases, this person isn't necessarily, they're not doing anything wrong here. So they're best to just be upfront about it and find the right lender that has a product that's fit for purpose, as opposed to just trying to, game the system. Because there will definitely be lenders that will be okay with it. They didn't mention how they got to this particular building society as the best product for them, but I hope they haven't just assumed it. You know, they should have got advice on the best product for them. And if that advice was given by a specialist broker, then they shouldn't be at that building society anyway, if that's the situation. So, seek out the right product, because there will be one for them.
Yes. I mean, John, you and I have talked before about the Bank of Mum and Dad. And
Yes.
I think on a previous
Thank goodness there is.
it was
a
like
lot of people.
Mum and Dad were identified as the biggest lenders in the country
Absolutely.
for mortgage purposes,
Yeah.
at about £6 billion.
Yeah.
Same sort of thing in France, Trevor?
Yeah, pretty much. When the French, obviously, anti-money laundering laws are exactly the same as they are in the UK. It's a pan-European rule. The French tend not to have to worry so much about it, because obviously house prices being a lot less, like they are across most of the country apart from the cities, you can buy a house for between 100 and 150,000 euros.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only pockets where it exceeds that. So the 100% lending is still commonplace. Interest rates are so low that most people, their debt ratios are very low. The French have a very, very low personal debt ratio, probably one of the lowest in the world. And they're the best savers in the world.
And why is that, Trevor? Why is that?
I don't know. I think it's cultural. I think they've always been very conservative. I think they've been taught to. I think it probably will change with time as generations move on. But for the moment, they're not frivolous. No. They live within their means.
Who's suggesting we are frivolous?
I think the British are frivolous. Yeah, I think Americans probably more so.
I think we've become like that over the last 10, 15, 20 years. Definitely, I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
We all agree on something.
We do. Well, that's a first.
There we are. All right, Trevor, your last question then. We're considering retiring to France and selling up our UK home. Obviously, running costs are going to be a huge consideration, as upon retirement, our income will be both fixed and indeed limited. So my question is, are the more touristy areas in France dearer in terms of local taxes and the like? I appreciate that restaurants and shopping may be more expensive in these areas, but of course that's something that we can regulate and spend according to our budget. Taxes, etc., we cannot. So what do you think?
Yeah, well, taxe foncière and taxe d'habitation. I mean, obviously, taxe foncière has taken a bit of a hike in the last couple of years, as like local financing of local communes' budgets has been restricted from the government. So it really depends on the resources that are in the town or the village that there are, and it changes from town to town. It depends on the spending of that particular council. I mean, from French provincial towns, one to another, it can change massively. If you've had the council that have been in place and have been frivolous,
Yeah.
we like that word today.
We do.
And they've gone on some massive, ridiculous spending spree.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to pay the bill.
Of course.
And unfortunately, that will result in higher taxe foncière. But there's no rule geographically. It literally depends on whether you've had a council with a spending problem or not.
You wouldn't find it more expensive in say, Nice, for instance, where it's
not
very
really. I mean,
touristy.
obviously, the bigger and more expensive the property, slightly higher it is, but it doesn't really all like that. For example, Paris is extremely cheap for taxes. Ridiculously
Because there's so
so.
many people? Or?
No, because they just don't. It's always been cheap. I mean, there are towns in France, like Angoulême, close to where we are, where your local taxes will be higher than they are in central Paris. So, you just need to ask what the rates are and then compare it to where it is elsewhere.
Same old thing, do your homework.
Yep.
Absolutely. Okay, gents, look, just the last couple of minutes, just in one sentence each, we're one way or another going to be coming out of Europe, I think, in the next month or two. What changes do you think we're going to experience? John?
I think the first 2 or 3 months will be a bit traumatic. I think fuelled by the BBC and other types of social outlets, in my view, hyped up unnecessarily and irresponsibly. But I think in the long run, we'll be far, far better off. 6th biggest trading nation in the world.
Okay.
That wasn't one sentence, was it? Sorry.
No, it wasn't.
Well, look, I think it's happening now, so we just need to get on with it. A term I heard the other day, which I thought was very relevant, was Brexit fatigue. Everyone's sick of it now.
Yes.
We just want to move on.
We do.
It's obviously kept a lot of people sitting on, property-wise, sitting on the sidelines for some time. And what we've noticed is those people are coming back into the game now. They're overweighting. And I think as this gets more and more resolved, that will happen.
It's called boredom, isn't it?
As things, as 30th October passes and things start to happen, that will happen more and more. And I think that pent-up demand will return to the market, and I think the property market will pick up quite a bit over the next 12 to 18 months.
Trevor?
Yeah, we've seen the same. There's a lot of people waiting to pounce to where, and the breaks are from Brexit. Even buyers wanting to buy in France. We've got a lot of people sitting on the fence, and even if Brexit happens, doesn't happen, whatever, I mean, I think we are going to get a deal, and I think whether we have a vote on that deal or not is another question, but the chances are that we are going to leave in the next few
Sounds optimistic.
months. Sounds good. Sounds like there's a deal.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for your input today. So thank you to John Howard, Paul Mahoney and Trevor Leggett. Thank you all very much indeed. My name's Stephen Galpin. Join me again next time on Property Question Time.
Property is a great investment option, but it's one of the largest purchases that you'll ever make. As individuals, we're all limited by our resources, and regardless of our experience, knowledge or time, we can achieve much more with the help of a qualified team and extra resources being available. Nova Financial specialize in assisting clients to achieve financial freedom through property investment. With over 100 years of experience, we shape your family's future. To invest in property with absolute confidence, call us on 0203 8600 or visit nova.financial.
The antiquated village of La Roche-Becourt in rural Dordogne may not have the cachet of Paris or London, yet it houses one of the 10 fastest growing property consultancies in Europe. It is home to Leggett Immobilier, the leading international estate agent in France. They have around 16,000 properties for sale right across the country, with a network of 400 agents who provide local expertise and market knowledge. If you want to know the best villages, schools, restaurants or boulangeries, then the Leggett team will know the answer. As well as advising buyers on the local market and regional property prices, they also have a bilingual contract team who ensure that your purchase will go through as smoothly as possible. Leggett has been voted Best Estate Agent in France for the past 4 years running. To experience these exceptional service levels for yourself, then head to our website, leggettfrance.com.
Hi, I'm John Howard and I'm known as the property expert. The reason for this is over the last 40 odd years, I've bought and sold over 3,500 properties and I'm still going. I'm delighted to pass on my vast experience and knowledge to you through my property seminars that are taking place across the UK this year. To know more, please go to johnhowardpropertyexpert.co.uk.
I'm Nicholas Woolwork, businessman, investor, real estate developer and entrepreneur. In my book, Investing in International Real Estate for Dummies, I teach you specialist strategies you can use to build wealth and create an income through property and real estate investing anywhere in the world. I can steer you away from the common pitfalls and help you choose which investment strategy is right for you. This book will tell you all you need to know to grow a profitable real estate portfolio.
Hello and welcome to Property TV. I'm Stephen Galpin, host of Property Question Time. We've completed the filming of Series 1, over 260 successful episodes. We're now about to film Series 2. The difference? Well, we're going to be filming in our new studio adjacent to the Canary Wharf development. Keep those questions coming in to us, keep our panellists, our experts busy, and we hope you enjoy the new series as much as you did the last one.
Meet the Author is a brand new mini-series involving leading experts in the property industry, including mentors, developers, property lawyers and other industry experts who share insightful stories about their journey and their books. Each book is compiled by authors with years of valuable experience, tips and observations, providing you with new knowledge about the property industry. To find out more, visit the website property-tv.co.uk/library.